Look around your room or maybe the back of your closet. I can almost guarantee there is something hiding in there. A dusty acoustic guitar, a half finished knitting project, a set of expensive watercolor paints you used exactly twice, or maybe an absurdly complex pour over coffee kit. You bought these things during a sudden burst of inspiration, convinced that this, finally, was going to be your thing. You pictured yourself playing songs by the campfire, wearing hand knitted sweaters, or brewing the perfect morning cup. But a few weeks later, the excitement evaporated and the gear ended up in the corner, staring at you, serving as a silent reminder of yet another thing you couldn't commit to. If this sounds familiar, you probably feel a little guilty about it. You might think you lack discipline or that you have a frustratingly short attention span. But what if I told you that this endless cycle of picking up and dropping hobbies has absolutely nothing to do with your attention span? There is a psychological reason we are all suddenly obsessed with finding new interests. And the truth about why you drop that guitar or those paints is actually going to change how you view your own mind. Let's rewind to how it usually happens. You are scrolling on your phone late at night, exhausted after a long day of work or studying. Your brain feels like static. Suddenly, a video pops up. Someone is making pottery in a sunlit studio, their hands covered in clay, looking incredibly peaceful. You don't just think, that looks fun. You think, I want to feel how they look. So, you go down the rabbit hole. You research the best starter kits, watch hours of tutorials, and hit purchase. When the box arrives, you get a massive rush of dopamine. For 3 entire days, you are the pottery person. But then, it gets a little hard. You realize your clay bowls look like lopsided ashtrays. The novelty wears off, the dopamine crashes, and the kit goes into the closet. You feel defeated. Most people explain this through the lens of modern attention spans. They say social media has ruined our brains, making us crave constant, instant gratification. While there is a grain of truth to that, it completely misses the deeper picture. To understand what is really happening, we have to look at the environment we are living in. Recent psychological studies on workplace burnout paint a pretty grim picture. According to a global survey, nearly three-quarters of young adults report experiencing symptoms of chronic burnout. We live in a hyper-optimized culture. From the moment we wake up, our time is commodified. If you aren't working, you should be networking. If you aren't networking, you should be at the gym optimizing your health. And this is where the deep, undeniable craving for a new hobby comes in. Psychologists refer to a concept called self-determination theory. It suggests that human beings have three innate psychological needs: competence, connection, and autonomy. Autonomy is the feeling that you are the author of your own life, making choices freely. In our daily routines, most of us have zero autonomy. Your boss dictates your work hours. The algorithm dictates what you see online. Bills dictate how you spend your money. You feel like a passenger in your own life. When you suddenly decide to learn how to bake sourdough bread or build mechanical keyboards, you are not just looking for a fun way to pass the time. You are desperately reaching for a life raft of autonomy. You are reclaiming a tiny corner of the universe and saying, this belongs to me, I chose this. Think about the real-life examples around you. Consider the corporate project manager who spends all day answering emails and dealing with abstract, invisible problems. Suddenly, they get completely obsessed with woodworking. Why? Because woodworking is tangible. You cut a piece of wood, and you can touch the result. We bounce from hobby to hobby because we are searching for an anchor. We are looking for a version of ourselves that is allowed to exist without the pressure to perform. But here's the twist. The exact reason you pick up the hobby is the same reason you drop it. Because we are so conditioned by productivity culture, the moment we start a hobby, a little voice in our head starts whispering. You paint a picture, and the voice says, "You should post this on Instagram." You bake a good loaf of bread, and the voice says, "You could sell these. You could start a side hustle." The instant you attach an expectation to the hobby, the magic dies. It stops being a safe haven of autonomy and transforms into unpaid labor. And because you are already exhausted from being good at your real job, or being a good student or a good parent, your brain rebels. It shuts down the motivation. You abandon the paint set not because you are lazy, but because your brain is protecting you from adding another job to your life. So, what is the secret? How do we break the cycle of abandoned hobbies and closet graveyards? The answer is beautiful in its simplicity. You have to grant yourself the permission to suck. The greatest joy in human existence is not found in mastery. It is found in the messy, unstructured, zero expectation space of being a beginner. Research into neuroplasticity shows that when we learn something entirely new without the pressure of a deadline or an audience, our brains literally forge new pathways. It keeps us cognitively young. That graveyard of hobbies in your closet isn't a monument to your failures. It is a physical manifestation of your curiosity. It proves that despite the exhaustion of modern life, you still have a deep, unyielding desire to play. You are still looking for joy. Next time you get the urge to try something new, do it. Buy the cheap starter kit. Be terrible at it. Laugh at how bad you are. And if you drop it 2 weeks later, that is completely fine. You didn't fail. You successfully went on a 2 week vacation from reality, and now you are ready for the next adventure. Don't mourn the hobbies you leave behind. Celebrate the fact that your spirit is still searching, still reaching, and still wonderfully, unapologetically curious.